It's car con carne. Let's eat in the car. It's car con carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
And we're live on Facebook. It is Car Con Carne, sponsored by C&H Financial Services. This week is Animal Week on Car Con Carne. Car Con Carne has gone to the dogs and the cats and really anything that can be sheltered, adopted, protected, and cared for. Joining me tonight is Carolyn Giannopoulos. She is the president and founder of Chicagoland Bully Breed Rescue, now in its 30th year. Hello, Carolyn.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. So let's talk about bully mixes. So we're talking American Pit Bull Terriers, Staffordshire Terriers, Bulldogs, and other mixes. I think for a lot of people, and to some extent me included, I think some people hear pits and they automatically assume dangerous animals, can't have them near people, not safe to have as house pets. I'm sure that is something you hear and face all the time. How much of that is accurate, or is it just complete BS at this point?
You know, every dog's really an individual, but I mean, clearly I'm sitting here and I've got a pit bull in my lap that I've had for a couple of weeks that came from a really bad situation. And there's a pit bull behind me snoring and there's a bulldog behind me snoring too. So, I mean, we're all in pretty perfect harmony here. And there's one over on the couch, but she doesn't want to be on camera. So, you know, every dog's an individual. So you can have a dog that decides that they don't want to be around other dogs, and that's perfectly okay. Not everybody wants to be around people all the time either. So, you know,
True.
I mean, it's really more often than not, we've had dogs that are really great with other dogs, and it just, you have to figure out that right mix. You know, some don't want to be super crazy play, and some just want to hang around, and others want to run around like crazy and jump all over. So
I do love the snoring in the background. That only enhances whatever we're doing here tonight.
oh my gosh, she gets bad. It's really bad.
Let's see. Natalie says, look how much her pit bull loves her. True story.
He's up for adoption.
And Giorgio says, good doggo, all caps, good doggo. You know, it's funny, Carolyn, for the past, well, since mid-March, I took this show daily. It was a weekly show. And after doing this for 6 weeks, I needed a week to talk about something other than people facing
Absolutely.
COVID-19. I needed a palate cleanser. I think we all do. So talking about how we can support the animals. Let's talk about animals for a week. Let's talk about those lovable creatures who need our protection, help, and sheltering, which is why you're here.
Yeah, absolutely.
30 years ago, you started Chicagoland Bully Breed Rescue. What inspired that? Were you just an owner that thought, I want to do all I can for this breed, or did you kind of get led into it by someone else?
Well, so we grew up with a pit bull, and we've always had dogs in our house. We've had strays, we've had everything. We've had from a breeder, we've had strays that my dad picked up in the alley. I mean, we've had everything, but we had a pit bull from my uncle gave us a pit bull, and we grew up with her. My older brother and I, my little brother, she was the greatest dog. She hung out with all the kids in the neighborhood. She was just fantastic. Everybody loved her. And when I got into my teens, I wanted to volunteer at a shelter. I won't mention the shelter because I still work with them on occasion for things. But I was helping them out and I was volunteering there. And I had an affinity for pit bulls. And so I would work with them and play with them. And then one day I came in and one of my favorite dogs was gone. And I'm like, well, did somebody adopt the dog? And like, oh no, it was a pit bull. We had to put it down. I was crushed. I mean, absolutely crushed, because there were other dogs there that I would never put in a house with little kids or anything like that. And this dog was by far perfection. And it really just hit me very hard. And I said, you know, I need to do something better. Maybe I can start rescuing pit bulls. And little did I know what that was going to encompass. I started the nonprofit. I did it all myself. I didn't have money to pay a lawyer to do it. So trial and error, I did that. I raised money. I became friends with a lot of Chicago police officers. Actually, my phone number that I have is a Chicago police officer got me the phone specifically so that she could get a hold of me whenever she was on duty and she needed help with a dog.
Wow.
So and she's still one of my really good friends. So it just kind of, they hit me. I knew the breed. I understood the breed, and I saw what people were doing, and I'm like, there has to be something better. And there's no reason that just because they're called a pit bull that they should be euthanized and not loved and be in a home. And so the journey began.
I have to assume that a lot of dogs that come your way might have come from bad homes or they've been poorly treated. Is that more often the case with rescues?
Yeah, and it kind of runs the gamut. I mean, it can be from dog fighting. It could be from just
is that still a thing that happens?
Oh, it's huge. It's horrible, and it's
repulsive.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that's a thing that still
And
exists.
people
but here we are.
think that it's only in bad neighborhoods. I mean, there's dog fights that happen up at Northbrook Court. I mean, at the shopping center. It's horrible. Where
see, they took the Macy's out. Look what happened.
Right. Exactly. So, I mean, it can be from everything. Like Podge, the little white guy that was just sitting in my lap here. He is about 10 months old, and we just got him from somebody who only had him for a couple of weeks, but I'm his fifth home, and he's 10 months old. And he was abandoned out in a yard when he was a puppy for a couple of weeks, and then went to someone else and went to someone else. And most recently, the last person he was at, not a week after we got Podge to our house, the little kid in the house was killed. And no doubt this dog would have been dead if we wouldn't have went and got him out of the house. So you don't know what's going on. I mean, it can be abuse, it can be neglect, it can just be, oh, I'm going to get this really cool pit bull and then do absolutely nothing with it. No training, no socialization, nothing. And then they hit a year old and they're wild and crazy, and you haven't done anything with, and boom, we're going to drop them off. A lot of dogs that wind up coming into the shelters and that need homes are dogs that landlords are telling people that they can't have the dogs anymore. And so breed specific legislation is still very alive, and it's really detrimental. It doesn't work. And it's tough because it's not just for pit bulls now. A lot of apartment buildings won't allow any big dogs. They won't allow shepherds or huskies or rotties or anything.
So what's the current status of the rescue? Did interest in rescuing dogs pick up or slow down because of the pandemic?
It's kind of both. I mean, we've actually adopted out all of our dogs. We have 2 dogs that need to get put up on the website. I think Podge might have a potential home. We just have to cat test him and check that out. But we're actually sending volunteers down to animal control to start looking at dogs because we have no dogs. We've adopted everybody out. And, some of our friends that are in rescue, they posted out that they were looking for some foster homes. And one of the rescues got 530 foster applications. It's like, wow. They're pulling dogs from everywhere, and people are getting mad that no one's getting back to them and whatnot. It's like we're trying to find dogs that are gonna fit in your household. So it's nice that people are really opening their home to doing it. I do worry a little bit. I'm gonna err on the side of caution, and I worry a little bit that people aren't once they get back into their regular lives of going to work and being gone for 10 hours or whatever, are they gonna really remember? They now have a dog that they have to figure out. Yeah. So
I do want to thank a lot of people for joining us tonight. Jet, Mike, Mark, Jason, Jesus, Ken, Ashley, John, Jessica, Jane, Giorgio also commented that I'm wearing a Dead Man shirt, which is true. Boston brand, kind of a lost DC comic superhero, shot in a horrible circus double cross, forced to live the life of the undead inhabiting living people's bodies as dictated by the Ramakrishna. I digress.
Now that sounds like a conversation you need to have with my brother.
True enough. So how attached do you personally, as the president, as the founder of this rescue, how attached do you personally get? Like, how many dogs do you usually have running around your place at one time? So
I have my standard 3. I've smartened up over the years. I don't have 8 dogs in my house anymore. But I have my 3, and they're fantastic. They're a great little pack, and they really are. They're good foster siblings. And so I always have at least one foster dog with my dogs. And I just keep rotating. And every once in a while I say, oh, I'm going to give my dogs a break. And that lasts for about an hour or two, because then I'll see a dog that needs help. I'm like, oh, let's go pick it up. Let's go get it. So I think I've had, the last count that I had that I could actually physically figure out, I've had a couple of hundred foster dogs over the last maybe 10 years or so. So I've done a lot.
That's a lot.
And it's hard because, they break my heart every time they go home, but that just means I get to love another dog. So
true. So you mentioned it, people might get fosters that might adopt a dog during the pandemic, and then when life slides back into something resembling normal, they may not be ready to continue that responsibility, or they just might not be able to.
Right.
What other thing would you like potential adopters or foster parents to think about before getting into this? Besides that long-term, what seems to be obvious, what should they consider when looking for a sheltered dog or someone to adopt?
Well, I think people need to understand that a lot of, like when we do fostering, all of our dogs go through foster homes because we don't have a physical shelter. So when I take a foster dog into my house, I housebreak it. I make sure that the dog doesn't have any food aggression issues. I work with everything. And that's what we really expect our foster homes to do, because I want to be able to pass on my dog to you in as perfect condition as I possibly can. And anybody who's fostered a dog for me or has adopted one of my fosters, they've all routinely said, you've done such a great job. And it's not just me, my dogs really teach them a lot. So, but that's really what I want ultimately, that they get the best dog that they can possibly get, that they can do whatever. They can go to a park, they can go to PetSmart, whatever they want to do. But so when people are offering to foster, I think a lot of times we really do things just based on our heart and on emotions. And we're like, oh, this poor dog, it was sitting in a shelter, it could have died, all of that. There's got to be some rational thinking, like crate train the dog, make sure that the dog knows that they have to go into a crate, or they're comfortable in a crate for a long period of time. Even if it's an hour here, 2 hours here, they want to get comfortable with that. Exercise, there's training. We know some trainers who are actually doing online training courses right now, and they're doing Zoom lessons, which I think is great, because people still need to do that. Because if they start leaving to go to work, and now you've got a dog who might wind up with separation anxiety because they've literally been with you for 24 hours out of the day. So there's just a lot, I think, the training aspect and just making sure that they acclimate really good to once you go back to normal life.
So 30 years in, Chicagoland Bully Breed Rescue. If people want to learn more about what you're doing and the dogs that are currently up for being fostered, where do they go?
They can go to our Facebook page, which is Chicagoland Bully Breed Rescue. And that's also our website, chicagolandbullybreedrescue.org. We're on Instagram as well at Chicago Pit Bulls.
And who doesn't want to look at pictures of dogs?
Right. I mean, and our social media girl, Annabelle, I'll throw a shout out to her. She's awesome. She is always posting videos and pictures and whatnot. So.
Well, thank you for doing this. I'm so glad that the dog back there was able to sleep through all this.
I mean, I thought she'd be a little bit more animated, but, she's got to take her pre-bedtime nap. So,
It's like we are her right now. All of us are her right now. Thank you for doing this. I want to thank everyone for watching on Facebook Live and for listening to the podcast, watching it wherever.
Can I bring up one thing before we get off really quick?
Please.
So we, I know with the pandemic and everything's kind of a little crazy, but we got a grant this year in honor of our 30-year anniversary. We are spaying and neutering 30 pit bulls in and around Chicago. So these have to be owned dogs. So if you need your dog spayed or neutered, I will do it for free for you. So go to our website, go to our Facebook page, send us a message, tell us, hey, we want to get our dog spayed or neutered. We will take care of it for you.
That's
and we're
huge.
Just working on a date. We're not sure as soon as the clinics open back up, but we would love to do it.
That is wonderful. That's a fine way to end this too. So thank you everybody for watching. Thank you, Carolyn. I'm going to kill the Facebook Live real quick.